The time being 9:30, I will call this meeting, Long Range Capital Plan and Utilization Committee, to order. For the record, until Representative McConkey makes it, he told me he would be late. Representative Edwards will be filling in for him until reading the wrong line. Representative Edgar will fill in for McConkey. I'm sorry. Until such time as the regular member shows up. First order of business is the acceptance of the minutes of the September 19th, 2022 meeting. Are there any corrections, errors, or omissions? Seeing none, I will accept a motion for the approval of the minutes. Representative Mills moves, seconded by Representative Cloutier, that the minutes of September 19th be approved. Any discussion, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approved, nay. The ayes have it, and the minutes are approved. One item that's not on there, just for those of us who came in for a special meeting over the summer, so that we could lease a building on short notice. That lease was finally approved at the last GNC. That was not quick work, but we will now move forward with the movement of the Department of Justice and the rest several months later than we had planned on. First order of business is under old business, LRCP 22-26, additional information, Department of Administrative Services. Information requested September 19th, 2022 to LRCP 22-26, Department of Administrative Services. Acting on behalf of the Department of Administrative Services, requests approval to grant an exclusive option to Gilson Road Solar LLC, a New Hampshire limited liability company, to be formed by solar farm developer Andrew Keller, doing business as New Hampshire Solar Garden, to lease approximately 25.78 acres of land at the Sylvester Superfund site located near Gilson Road in Nashua, New Hampshire, consisting primarily of a cap landfill and the abutting surrounding state land for a total term of up to 45 years, following an option term of up to 2 years for the purpose of constructing, installing, operating, and maintaining a 1 to 5 megawatt capacity commercial solar powered generation facility. Proposed exclusive option fees to obtain the right to lease the subject property are $1,000 for the first 12 months and $1,000 each for 2 consecutive option period extensions of 6 months. And after the option is exercised and construction is complete, proposed annual rent of the initial 25-year lease term is the product of the nameplate generation capacity of the facility in megawatts of alternating current, and $10,000 subject to conditions as specified in the request dated August 30th, 2022. This item was tabled on the 19th of September. What is the pleasure of the committee? Does anyone wish to take it off of the table? Representative Mills moves that the item be taken off the table. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Birdsall. The motion is to take LRCP 22-26 off of the table. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, and the item is off of the table and for us to act on. Is there anybody here who wishes to speak briefly about the item and where we are at the moment with it? And please identify yourselves for the record.
Good morning. My name is Jared Nyland, Real Property Asset Manager with the New Hampshire Department of Administrative Services. Following the September meeting, I inquired of the Department of Energy to invite a representative to attend this meeting as requested at the last meeting. The Deputy Commissioner is seated right back here if you have any questions for him. I also submitted a letter generally answering what the developer, Andrew Keller, indicated was his intention regarding the sale of all the power generated by this proposed facility. So that's where we are. Any questions?
Questions from members of the committee? Senator Birdsell.
I just want to clarify. So according to this, the intention of the solar farm is to make all of the electricity local to New Hampshire.
Yes, my understanding is that under the community, and this is where I'm out of my depth, the community power rules, his intention is to sell all the power to a municipality. I mistakenly assumed it would be Nashua, but it will be a New Hampshire municipality, not necessarily Nashua. And then all the power, and then if you have questions about how the program works, I highly suggest asking the Deputy Commissioner.
Commissioner, come on forward.
Thank you. For the record, Chris Elms, Deputy Commissioner of the New Hampshire Department of Energy. So, Senator, to answer your question, I can't speak to the specifics of this project, but it sounds like the developer's intention is to participate in the recently approved community power aggregation program. As part of that, all the electricity that is generated and consumed in the ISO New England grid is accounted for. Complex markets will help figure out what generators are compensated for that power and what consumers pay for that power. There are attributes to power that's generated, like whether or not it's renewable, that are captured by that, purchasing and consumption. Community power rules will allow the municipalities to build their own electric portfolio, figure out which attributes they would like to pursue. In some cases, they might be able to achieve either lower costs or more stable costs. In other cases, a municipality might choose to prioritize environmental benefits, have a certain percentage of their electricity be from renewable resources. A town would do so because they believe that agreement would be beneficial to their community. If this developer were to enter into an agreement with the town to sell that power and achieve whatever those benefits the town are prioritizing, the benefits of that electricity being sold would be captured by the municipality and the state.
Further questions from members of the committee? Seeing none, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this item? Seeing none, the motion before us is approval of LRCP 22-26. We did have that motion, right? No. Oh. Representative Mills moves approval, seconded by Senator Birdsell, that LRCP 026 be approved. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the item is approved. Thank you. Next item is RSA 4:39-B, approval of state agency leases exceeding 5 years. LRCP 22-45, Department of Administrative Services, requests authorization to enter into a 10-year lease renewal agreement with Bar Harbor Bank and Trust, 82 Main Street, P.O. Box 400, Bar Harbor, Maine, for approximately 4,191 square feet of space to be provided in an existing building located at 15 Atrium Road, Hillsborough, New Hampshire, to house the 6th District Division Hillsborough Courthouse for the period of March 1st, 2023, with rental payments commencing immediately thereafter and expiring 10 years later on February 28, 2033, for a total lease amount of $690,189.82, subject to the schedule of annual rent and conditions as specified in the request dated November 14th. Is there anybody from the department? Welcome.
Can you hear me? My name is Sarah Lineberry. I'm the superintendent of the Bureau of Court Facilities for the Department of Admin Services. And I have with me today Brian Young. And Brian is the assistant administrator for the Bureau of Court Facilities, Department of Admin Services. Mr. Chairman and committee members, we are here today to seek approval of a 10-year lease agreement between the Bureau of Court Facilities and Bar Harbor Bank and Trust for 4,191 square feet of space for the 6th Circuit Courthouse located in Hillsborough, New Hampshire. The total cost for the 10-year term is $690,189.82, with an annual rent in the first year of $63,032.64, or $15.04 per square foot, with a 2% annual increase for the remainder of the term. The Circuit Court has occupied this location for more than 10 years and features one courtroom, public service counters, public and staff circulation space, a holding area, and continues to meet all the current courthouse standards. Thank you, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Senator Birdsall.
I was just going to move to approve.
I do have one question. There are no current plans to build a new courthouse in that area.
That is correct.
Thank you. Senator Birdsall moves approval of the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Reagan. Any discussion? All those in favor of approval of item 22-045 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to RSA 4:39-C, disposal of highway or turnpike funded real estate. LRCP 22-38, Department of Transportation, requests authorization to amend LRCP 22-16, approved May 23rd, 2022, to dispose of state-owned land located at 1 Cronin Road in the town of Exeter by increasing the acreage size to 3.16 plus or minus acres from 2.88 plus or minus acres, with an increased sale price of $501,100 to $576,100, which includes a $1,100 administrative fee subject to the conditions as specified in the request dated May 6, 2022. I see that the department is ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Steve Labonte. I'm the Administrator of the Bureau of Right-of-Way, New Hampshire Department of Transportation. As it was just mentioned, this parcel has been up before the committee before. Based on comments from the town when we went to offer the property to the town as required by the statute. We reconfigured what we're selling. Previously, we were leaving a small area for a truck turnaround. The town was looking for that turnaround in a different location, so what we determined was, and they had made some other requests, like they wanted us to donate a 10-foot strip along the front of the property, and as you know, we don't have the ability to donate state property. So what we did is we went back to the town and said, this is probably more appropriate for you to address this with the buyer when they go through the planning board process. So reconfiguring that, we added a small portion of the property. We added area, 0.28 acres, and increased the property value from, or what our asking price that we're seeking to ask, from $501,100 to $576,100. We did an analysis to see what the increase, and we got a general market value from anywhere from $480,000 to $605,000. Analysis done by our chief right-of-way appraiser kind of put us right at the mark at $576,000. The property will be sold as is. The buyer will be required to have a licensed land surveyor survey the property and generate a boundary line right-of-way adjustment plan, which will ultimately be reviewed by the department and recorded at the Rockingham County Registry of Deeds. The state will retain a 400. The state is going to retain a couple of 400 square foot and a 4,275 square foot drainage easement and a 4,000 square foot slope easement. I can answer any questions.
Any questions from members of the committee? Seeing none, well, what is the pleasure of the committee? Representative McConkey moves approval. Senator Byrd so moves, seconds the motion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval of item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion is approved. Moving on, LRCP 22-39, Department of Transportation, requests authorization to grant a permanent utility easement to the town of Hooksett in the amount of $4,000, which includes an administrative fee of $1,100 pursuant to RSA 440, Roman 3-A, subject to the conditions as specified in the request dated November 3rd, 2022. Temporary use and occupancy agreement was originally granted LRCP 22-18, May 13th, 2022. The department?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The department is seeking permission to grant a permanent water and sewer easement to the town of Hooksett for the amount of $4,000, which includes an administrative fee of $1,100. It's to serve the purpose of the project is to allow the town to develop a 30-foot wide water and sewer utility easement from Cross Road through the abutting parcels to the north, identified as parcels 3016 and 3017 on a plan titled F.E. Everett Turnpike, which was purchased from for the P265CZ project in 1955. The easement will run along the easterly edge of a drainage system running through parcel 9 and along a western border of parcel 38. The water and sewer extensions are part of a larger tax increment finance effort to bring water and sewer to identified areas in the town of Hooksett to promote additional development. The department conditions of the sale is the premises has a stormwater detention pond located along the Effie Everett Turnpike and multiple stockpiles of concrete Jersey barriers. The permanent easement shall be located and centered between the detention pond and the adjacent stockpiles to create the largest offset possible for each. The licensee shall provide and install stubs and water shutoff to the Department's Bureau of Turnpike's property administration property located at 36 Hackett Hill Road. It was determined the property was purchased in 1955 for $3,900, which was 17 acres, and the other parcel 3017 was purchased for $4,500 in 1955, which consisted of 45 acres. An appraisal, a staff appraiser with the department appraised the value to be $2,900.
Questions of the department? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of the committee?
Mr. Chairman?
Representative Cloutier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move approval of item 22-039.
Representative Cloutier moves approval of item 22-39,
Second.
seconded by Representative Mills. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion is approved. LRCP 22-40, Department of Transportation requests authorization to sell .25 plus or minus of an acre of state-owned land within the limited access right-of-way located on the southerly side of New Hampshire Route 9, Mount Major Highway, in the town of Sullivan, directly to the town of Sullivan for $4,600, which includes a $1,100 administrative fee, subject to the conditions as specified in the request dated November 4th, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd point out that the item, our request, has a typo in it made by the department. It's actually the Franklin Pierce Highway in Sullivan. I apologize for that. So the town would like to acquire the parcel for location of its broadband head end for fibercast. It's high-speed internet. They want to provide high-speed internet to the town. The head end is a centralized control unit where external sources for programming and data are gathered and then processed for redistribution out. The subject parcel is a prime location and is a short distance from the consolidated communications shed. The requested access to this parcel will be off Apple Hill Road. Parcel consists of a quarter of an acre, is a portion of a larger parcel acquired in 1969 from Vincent and Lucille Wickland. The department acquired the portions of 3 separate parcels at a combined area of 8.78 acres for the sum of $14,500. 2 of the parcels acquired were improved with structures that have since been removed. The town will be required to solicit a licensed land surveyor to survey and prepare a boundary line and right-of-way adjustment plan to be submitted to the department for review and ultimately recorded at the Cheshire County Registry of Deeds. A staff appraiser from the department evaluated the subject property and concluded it does have an independent, doesn't have an independent highest and best use. They then prepared a market value appraisal using a sales comparison approach and adhered to the right-of-way manual requirements. The subject property's market value was concluded to be $3,500. So that, with the $1,100 administrative fee, brings us to $4,600.
Questions of the department? Seeing none, what is the pleasure of the committee? Senator Birdsall moves approval. Representative Cloutier seconds the motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion is approved. LRCP 22-41, Department of Transportation requests approval to dispose of 2 parcels of state-owned land located on Enterprise Drive, formerly known as Indian Head Rock, in the town of Wyndham by entering into a listing agreement for a term of 1 year with NIA Norwood Group at the listing price of $995,000 for both parcels, allowing negotiations within the committee's current policy guidelines and pursuant to RSA 440 Roman 3-A, assessing an administrative fee of $1,100 per parcel and subject to the conditions as specified in the request dated November 10th, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The department will enter into a listing agreement with NAI Norwood Group. The listing agreement will be for $995,000. The department is processing the disposal of two abutting parcels of state land located on Enterprise Drive in the town of Wyndham. Parcels were acquired for the Salem-Manchester 10418C Interstate 93 widening project. The breakdown of the parcels are as follows. Parcel A, 0.83 acres of an improved with a single-story commercial building acquired in 2006 from J. Frieda Boys Realty as part of as part of a negotiated settlement, which means we had to condemn on the property. The negotiated settlement was for $790,000. This commercial building was then renovated by the department using federal funds and used as the construction field office for the project listed above until June of 2021. Parcel B is a 1.47 acres of vacant land and is comprised from portions of 3 separate parcels. The first parcel was acquired in 1956 and is 0.5 acres of from Raymond and Ruth Dooley for $400. The second was acquired in 2007 and was 55.06 acres from George G. Dinsmore Revocable Trust, and this was also a negotiated settlement for $4,630,000. Again, that was for the whole 55 plus acres. And the last was a quarter acre acquired from Gilbert Agudelo for $5,750. These parcels, the parcel we're selling, the second parcel B, is made up of portions of all of these. The buyer will have to get a licensed land surveyor to prepare a perimeter boundary line survey. The buyer shall be responsible for obtaining all local and state approvals, including but not limited to subdivision approval. The Department's Bureau of Environment recommends that if possible, the stone wall alignment be avoided and preserved in place. Access to the parcels will be from Enterprise Drive, no access from 111. And the department is retaining a 15,250 square foot permanent drainage easement located on parcel B.
Thank you. I do have one question. What if somebody wants to buy just one parcel?
We're not, the second parcel is completely useless on its own.
Okay.
So we won't sell it like that.
All right. Anybody else have questions? Senator Birdsell.
No, I just moved to approve.
Senator Birdsell moves approval. Seconded by Senator Reagan. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve this item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion is approved. LRCP 22-42 requests authorization to sell 0.75 plus or minus of an acre of state-owned land located behind and abutting 512 Eastman Road in the town of Conway, directly to Peyton Cressy, the abutter, in the amount of $56,100, which includes an administrative fee of $1,100, subject to the conditions as specified in the request dated November 10th, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The grantee submitted a request to acquire the property described, just described. This parcel. Vacant land was acquired from David Smith in 2006 for the Conway Bypass project for $71,000, which included a 344 square foot temporary construction easement. The .75 acre parcel acquired for the project is identified on the project plan as parcel 51. A staff appraiser from the department evaluated the subject property's market value and determined it was $55,000. The reason for the decrease in property is that because we didn't build the project, this property is basically landlocked and is only marketable to the abutting property owner.
Thank you. One quick question. Will this money have to go back to the feds as part of the clawback for us not doing the project?
Yes, this will go back to our payback, our obligation to
All
pay
right.
back.
Senator D'Alessandro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What's left to get rid of based on purchases made for the Conway bypass?
We've got to consider, I don't have an exact number, I can get you that, but we've got a number of properties still left to sell that we're working through.
One further question.
Go ahead.
Now what about, we did purchase a number of houses. What are we doing with those homes at this time? We were renting them out, and some of them were in bad repair, in disrepair truly. What are we doing there?
So I'd have to check to see what, if any, residential dwellings that we're still leasing up there. So if the property, I mean, we're selling the properties as is, and so there's a pretty good demand, but a lot of those houses, now that they've been vacant for 15 years or so, they're in bad shape. They'll likely be raised and something will be built on them.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any further questions or comments from the committee? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of the committee? Representative McConkey moves approval. Representative Mills seconds the motion for approval of the item. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, and the item is approved. And someday we will finish paying back the feds for that project. Allegedly. Moving on, LRCP -043, Department of Transportation requests authorization to sell .2 plus or minus of an acre of parcel of state-owned land located at the intersection of Martin Road and New Hampshire Route 101 in the town of Epping, directly to 46 Martin Road, LLC, in the amount of $1,000 and pursuant to RSA 440, Roman 3-A, assess an administrative fee of $1,100 subject to conditions as specified in the request dated November 10th, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This 2/10 of an acre parcel is a portion of a larger 18.5 acre parcel acquired in 1962 from James A. Letty for the price of $16,200 for the Raymond Epping project. The parcel is also identified on the Epping tax map as 36 lot 23. The grantee will be required to get a licensed land surveyor to do a perimeter boundary line, which will ultimately end up being recorded at the Rockingham County Registry of Deeds. I've been out to the parcel. It has very little value to anyone but the abutter. It's landlocked, so I can answer any other questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, what is the pleasure of the committee?
Mr. Chairman,
Representative Cloutier.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move adoption of item 22-043.
Representative Cloutier moves approval. Representative Mills seconds the motion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the item is approved. LRCP 22-044, Department of Transportation requests authorization to sell .09 plus or minus of an acre of state-owned land located between New Hampshire Route 10 and Ralston Road in the town of Haverhill, directly to the abutting owner, Jack Brill, in the amount of $1,900 plus an administrative fee of $1,100, subject to the conditions as specified in the request dated November 10th, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject parcel consists of a remaining 8,500 square feet, or about just under 0.2 acres of land, which was acquired from a larger 14,365 square foot acquired in 1940 for $600 for the Haverhill Dartmouth College Road project. The grantee will be required to hire a licensed land surveyor to prepare a right-of-way boundary line plan, which will be submitted to the department for review. Upon the department's approval, the plan will be recorded in the Grafton County Registry of Deeds. It's another typo on the part of the department. A right-of-way appraiser from the department evaluated the subject property and recognized that it only has contributory value to this one abutter, which is where they came up with the $1,900 value. I can take any.
Thank you. Questions? Seeing none, what is the pleasure of the committee? Representative McConkey moves approval. Senator Birdsell seconds the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion is approved.
Thank you.
RSA 440, disposal of real estate. FIS 22-36, Department of Transportation. Requests authorization to lease approximately 0.7 acres of state-owned Ashuelot Branch Railroad Corridor in the town of Winchester, New Hampshire, to Winchester Precision for $1,000 per year for 5 years, plus a one-time administrative fee of $1,100, of which the department is in receipt of $500, subject to the conditions as specified in the request dated October 20th, 2022.
Can you, okay, off, I'm sorry. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for this opportunity. The Bureau of Rail and Transit was approached by Winchester Precision Technologies regarding an encroachment on the Ashuelot Railroad Corridor. And I investigated it and found that historically it had been encroachment since probably the 1890s. I met with the Bureau of Trails, and they had no incidents or reported incidents with their snowmobile through there. So we felt this was an acceptable option to offer the committee for consideration.
Thank you. Questions from the committee? Seeing none, what is the pleasure of the committee? Representative McConkey moves approval. Seconded by Senator Reagan. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the ayes have it. And the motion is approved. We have no miscellaneous items. There are several informational items listed in your agenda. Does anybody desire to go over the informational items? Seeing no desire to do that, we cannot set the next meeting of the Long Range Committee. This committee dissolves at midnight on the 6th of December, and it will be sometime in the new year before the Senate President and the Speaker of the House appoint new members, as well as the various members from the Governor's Office and Administrative Services, et cetera. So for those departments that did not get any business in for this one, you're going to wait till February or March before that. But to the members of the committee, I thank you all for all of the work that we've done over the last 2 years. I know that the LBA sent you all out a listing of what we did over those 2 years as far as sales, leasing, and the rest. I do have to send that to the governor, the Senate president, Speaker of the House, a few other people that are listed there, and the executive council on what we accomplished over the last 2 years on this committee. So I thank you all for the hard work. And for those who are coming back, hopefully some of you will stay on the committee so that there is some continuity and experience that stays with it. I think, as you all know, I elected not to run, so I will not be back, but I will kibitz.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
I would like to take this privilege to thank you very much for your service of being on the committee and chairing the committee. I know it's not an easy task being a former chair of this committee myself, but I think you've done a very professional job in scheduling our meetings. And I want to thank you very much for that service. Hopefully wish you the best wishes, any future endeavors, and hopefully we'll see you around once in a while next term. Thanks.
probably. All right, Senator D'Alessandro.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too would like to say thank you for your service, not only on this committee, but your service to the state of New Hampshire over the years on public works. You and others have done great service to the state by being there and by working on some very significant projects over the years. So thank you for your service. It's problematic with people that, you know, today's news is today's news, but tomorrow it's all going into history.
It is. You're making me blush there, Senator. But thank you.
Thank you for your service.
And with that, this committee stands adjourned to the call of the next chair.